Hello, my lovelies! This is Jenny from Jenny's Fun Facts. We just want to take a moment to thank you so much, P Eats Meal Preps, for sponsoring our episodes. New menu out every Friday, ordered by Sunday, delivered fresh by Tuesday, and guess what? We deliver to all Montreal surrounding areas as well. Healthy, fresh, and delivered to your door for free. Add them and our podcast on Instagram at p.eats_P as in Peter, R-E, P as in Peter, S. Thanks, P Eats Meal Preps.
Can you stop and think for a slight moment what a world without internet would be like? No more Netflix, no more Amazon Prime, no more Messenger video, no more Skyping, no more e-transferring, and no more going to the grocery store and paying with your debit card. Internetless, a world without internet. That's the next topic on Noon Hour Out of the Box. Coming up.
Hey, and welcome to episode 20 of Noon Hour Out of the Box. A huge thank you to all our viewers. Your love and support is so appreciated. To Jenny DuHaime, our producer, thank you so much. She makes all this happen. And to my incredible co-host, the man, the legend, Mr. Robert D'Alessio.
Esther, what a pleasure it is to be here with my amazing co-host, Esther B., also known as Esther Brzezinski. Esther, the exciting news we shared last week, well, we're going to reshare it once again.
Oh, yes.
Folks, it has happened. We are finally on internet radio. It's Access Radio. And every Saturday between noon and 3 p.m., you can tune in to our amazing show. That's accessradio.ca. You don't want to miss that. It's pre-recorded. It's rebroadcast. But hey, we're on the internet, right?
Absolutely. And if you have an Android, you go to Google Play, you download the app, and you could hear us there as well. I listened in. It was amazing. The music, rock music, was so well done. The editing, the way it was all put together, I so enjoyed the show.
Fantastic. And it was indeed a great show. And I can't wait for next Saturday to come up.
Yeah, it's going to be amazing. So, Robert, October 6th, I think it was last Monday, the outage of Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp affected me in a very interesting way. So I was sitting at home. I had a friend over, and I thought that my Wi-Fi had gone down. And then I shut it off, and then I tried to see if my network was working, and it was off as well. And then I had a news pop up that said that there was a huge outage of Facebook and it's the other apps that they own. So I found myself concerned about what was going on. I went on Clubhouse, and there was a room of over 5,000 people in that room, and they were discussing it for hours. And they even did a poll, and the majority of people believe that, in fact, it was a hack. And in fact, that's not what it was, but it was, the ideas of the fact that there might be a retaliation because of the whistleblower. There were all sorts of ideas and even conspiracies that were being thrown around. And I had a kind of 9/11 moment, like, oh my God, like this is a catastrophe. Like what's happening? What will happen if it in fact goes down? What was your experience?
Well, you know what? The first thing that came to my mind is the conspiracy theory. The New World Order. And I told myself, oh my God, this is it. It is happening. And it is the beginning of a new life, a new era. I got very, very nervous because I can't imagine the world without internet, because I rely a lot on internet. I do a lot of e-transfers, a lot of online banking. It could be a Sunday, like maybe at 9:30 in the evening. And I like to pay my hydro bill, sometimes my cell phone.
Right.
I like to do all of that stuff over there. And I can't imagine if I want to book a trip, I can't on a Saturday night at 8:30 because there's no internet, and I can't go and read all of the comments and all that for a certain hotel. So it would be like absolutely disastrous without internet. And I think we're taking this for a little bit for granted. We should be appreciating the fact that we
100%.
have this beautiful tool that we're using.
Yeah, we are so reliant on it. And you and I were actually brought up in an era where it did not exist. So we do know the difference. And it's interesting how even we, the baby boomer generation, have become so reliant on it. So let's backtrack a little and take a look about what happened on Facebook. So an update to Facebook's routers that coordinate network traffic went wrong on Monday, October 4th, sending a wave of disruption and effectively shutting down Instagram, Facebook, and WhatsApp for 6 hours.
Oof.
Yes, so Facebook came back and said that its engineers determined
something happened, something technical.
Yeah, it's going down again.
I know.
Facebook said engineers determined the problem originated with a network issue that interrupted communications between its data centers. The outage comes after a whistleblower, that's what I said earlier, said the world's largest social network is prioritizing profits over users' safety.
That is pretty scary, eh?
It is. So we decided to try to imagine what the world would be like, what the scenario would be like what is the what if scenario if there was no internet, if we were in fact internetless.
Well, we prepared a little bit of a slide presentation. We got 5 slides over here, and Esther and myself are going to be sharing the reading of these slides over here. Esther, you permit that I do the first slide?
Please go ahead.
Okay, so the ramifications of the internet going down for an extended period of time would hit the economy hard, tear into the operation of transport systems, and take down businesses.
In fact, there were 4 major areas that we discovered what would happen if we went internetless. Number 1, that we just talked about, no social networking, no online friends. When internet connection goes off, the first casualties are social network websites like Facebook, WhatsApp, Twitter, Snapchat, Instagram, Clubhouse, etc.
Well, a world without internet, that means no news or information. Without the internet, you wouldn't be able to get round-the-clock information like news or weather forecast. Air traffic can't function, high seas become dangerous, and metros come to a complete standstills. Suburban train networks will run slowly, bringing big cities around the world to a creeping halt.
Oh, that's a scary scenario. So, in fact, there would be no online banking and actually no ATMs working as well. So online banking goes down. ATM's failure causes huge queues at banks. Banks face huge clearing pileup as the check clearing and money transfers have to be done, imagine this, manually. This continues until the time there is a breakdown in services. There would be no PayPal or Visa purchases, no credit or debit cards would be, they in fact would become redundant as point of sales would not work.
And finally, well, without the internet, there's no satellites. And a guy like myself who uses the GPS a lot, that would be kind of tragic. The GPS network would completely break down, as will the normal satellite communications. Everything which is connected to satellites would have to be shut down. What a nightmare that would be. Can you imagine?
You know how much I rely on my GPS? I can't go anywhere. Do you remember the days when we actually used maps?
Well, maps? Well, you know what? To this day, and I say this without being proud about it, I still can't read a damn map.
I'm kidding.
I don't know. I don't know how to read a map. The only thing I know is that they have some kind of a scale, like a 0 to 200. Instead of being miles, it's inches. Miles. It's actually kilometers nowadays. That's how far back I've gone, like without having been able to read a map. So don't talk about maps to me. I use a GPS just to go to the corner store. Because,
Wow.
well, because sometimes it's construction, there's a detour, whatever. And, by the time you go around and to find your way, um, it could be a big detour, right?
Yep.
Because construction in Montreal is not a reality, right?
No, not at all. Are you
None of
kidding?
that.
In fact, we wouldn't even be here doing this. Imagine that. We wouldn't have imagined being in the pandemic and not having access to the internet. I mean, this is what kept us all going,
Oh
you
my
know?
God.
And in fact, when we talked about the transport and how everything would slow down and everything would be done manually, I mean, in fact, now because of the pandemic, there is a huge backlog of goods that are sitting in warehouses or not even getting there because they don't have the shipments, or they don't even have the employees to then disperse it out to the general public. So it would be a crazy scenario.
Well, you know what? Can you imagine the fashion business? So they have crates waiting there. It's a year and a half.
Oh my God!
Now they want to
Imagine.
put them out. The style is over. And we have a comment here from Louisa Miniaci. You want to read it, Resty?
Sure. She said, I was writing a post and then the connection dropped. Checked my Wi-Fi and then started mumbling because I thought it was my old iPhone causing problems. Then my son, yes, my son yelled from upstairs, "Don't panic, Mom. Facebook is down. Look who was telling me not to panic." Exactly. And it doesn't matter what generation you're from. We have all become reliant on it. Yeah. Yes.
Don't we have a complimentary video you wanted to show, Esther?
Yes. So there's this small little snippet of a video that I found that actually illustrates this what if scenario. Here it is.
You could argue this kind of digital detox would be beneficial. We'd take our eyes off our screens and strike up real-life conversations with each other. We'd discover that our smartphones can actually make phone calls. We'd bring back fax machines and start making notes by hand. Well, maybe not fax machines. And hey, we'd still have TV to entertain us. The world would not fall apart. In fact, with almost 4 billion people having no access to the internet worldwide, half of humanity wouldn't notice a difference in the short term. But not you, mighty internet user. You would notice right away. If the internet suddenly flatlined, social media users would start calling each other on the phone, overloading the working telecommunication systems. Unless cell phone towers and telephone lines were also shut down. Then you'd go back to writing letters and sending them via post. Forget about wireless file transfers. With no Wi-Fi, you'd have to use a physical cable to connect two computers. Or a CD. Remember this? Now think about the economy. With financial data generally stored on a server, banking services largely depend on the internet. E-transfers would be impossible. Your credit card and debit card would become a useless piece of plastic. And what about all those bitcoins you worked so hard to mine? Well, you know the answer. On top of that, large companies like Google, Facebook, and Amazon would go out of business, losing their combined revenue of almost $440 billion. With Google itself having 80,000 full-time staff, hundreds of thousands of people would be left unemployed. Even companies that only rely on the internet as a means of advertising would be affected. Developed countries would lose entire industries and face economic crisis. What about those countries with just a small internet presence? They would be affected too, as international trade is dependent on the internet. So is the world's transit. With no internet access between airports, planes, ships, trains, and commercial trucking, we go back to tracking goods on paper. This would raise the market value on transported products, as it would be more complicated to deliver goods to stores.
Video. Gee.
That's a scary scenario. That's like a horror film.
Hey, look how cute Michael Anchors is. Esther, you got the better voice. Go ahead, read it out.
Oh, that is, I'm seeing it's so sweet. If I hadn't come across Ange on YouTube last year, I wouldn't have had to meet any of you amazing people. I love working with all of you, and without the internet, it wouldn't have been able to keep in touch. Wow. That's beautiful. Thank you.
And our amazing producer with her beautiful answer, likewise at Michael Anchors Music. I love your awesome autism podcast. I have learned so much from our connection.
Yeah,
so,
we will be going live actually on Instagram, Michael and myself. Yeah, 1 o'clock Eastern Standard Time on Thursday. And we're going to talk about one of his latest releases. So that should be interesting as well. And of course, that would never happen if we had no internet.
Yeah, see that. Listen, Esther, that's amazing. Please keep us posted next week, as if you can get a little snippet of that interview, could probably play that on our show.
Yeah, I can bring it next week. Absolutely, we can record it and do that. It'll be a lot of fun.
Esther, it's time once again to move on, to our next subject next week. It's time to say goodbye. I'm not crazy about saying this, but we have to do it. Time's up.
Well, I do know that you have a What's on Your Mind clip that you received from one of our viewers. I think before we go, we should take a little look.
As a matter of fact, that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to be playing the clip as we sign off our show today, Esther.
Okay.
So we're going to say goodbye to each other and to the audience, and to our amazing producer, Jenny DuHaime, who just keeps doing some amazing work for us, and all for the benefit of the audience, of course. So everybody, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you, Esther, for being there. We're going to be seeing you next week. Same time, same place, same reason. As we sign off, goodbye.
Bye-bye.
On the subject of pet peeves, I have a few. One that comes to mind is somebody in your household will go to the fridge, pull out a carton of milk or juice, serve themselves, empty the carton, and then put it back in the fridge. I mean, I'm sure you've all experienced this before. My question is, why would anybody do that?